It's been a while since Helldivers 2 came out, and I wanted to express my thoughts on the game so far. Now that all the initial problems with its release are resolved, such as the server capacities, the crashes, and the initial content, I feel that most can now gauge whether this kind of game is for them or not. I've been playing since the first week Helldivers 2 came out and have unlocked almost every stratagem and ship upgrade that I feel that I've needed. I've gotten used to handling the ridiculous enemy density on its highest difficulty Helldive, and I have strong habits on how to survive most encounters. So, with weeks and weeks of grinding more metals and resources, fighting the same enemies over and over with the same weapon loadouts, you'd think the game at some point would get boring. So, depending on the type of gamer that you are, this might be true. But for me, for those who like good storytelling and lore telling, which are two very different things, by the way, this game still managed to be fun and exciting. I don't want you to think that this piece of content is a game review. It's not. It's actually a love letter to Arrowhead, and even more specifically, what they're doing for the industry. You'll understand why in a minute. So, what am I talking about that makes the game still so damn good? Every game where you have to grind usually ends with hitting a wall of nothing but pointless grinding, usually for no reason because you've earned everything you possibly can. Me as a player, I'm doing this for one of two reasons. One, because I hope my work carries over when the new content is released, or two, because the game is still fun and doesn't feel like a grind. Now, for me, I hit a wall pretty fast, but what Arrowhead has done is drip feed you little tidbits of content to keep you interested and sign on the game to try it out. Sometimes it's a new gun just sitting somewhere on the map. You can use it during a mission if you'd like to, which eventually gets released as an unlockable so you can use it whenever you want. Then they introduce players to finding mechs lying around you can play with, and then again, unlockable. This is on top of new enemies like the flying Terminated Shriekers and the automaton gunships. The way they introduced them was by actually denying they existed on their social media feeds, like some government conspiracy getting out and Super Earth, which is pretty much them, Arrowhead. They're trying to contain it. On top of that, we have their version of season passes called War Bonds, which, by the way, are not only open for anyone throughout the years to come, but you can pick and choose what you want to unlock. Let's not forget that all of it has to be earned rather than paid for with real currency. So, yes, of course, as with any business, they still need money. You have to pay to unlock the entire war bond, so you can start unlocking everything. And there is another store page where you can buy cosmetic items, but it's very few, very cheap, and most importantly, does not disrupt the gameplay immersion. This has done overall is allow the player to continuously enjoy incoming content while adding a bit of social media buzz, storytelling, and exploration to what some could have guessed to be a stale game after a few weeks of grind. The Helldivers Twitter page is fun to follow since they speak to the community as if they're part of Super Earth, passing news to fellow Helldivers, and most importantly, that Twitter, along with Arrowhead's CEO and many other staff members, are incredibly curious and receptive to community feedback and suggestions. They're always asking questions and responding even to the most negative of comments. Arrowhead CEO Johan Pillestedt has even commented about avoiding toxicity in their games, which is why they refuse to add PvP content, and has asked players for feedback on how to improve players' experience with other players. All of this put together is what makes Helldivers 2 so special. We have huge multi-billion dollar companies gouging our wallets by adding paywalls, battle passes, microtransactions, pay to win items, when all Arrowhead wants to do is charge just enough to keep the servers open and paychecks flowing so that they can get back to making a great game, which they have adamantly expressed they love very much. Too many games nowadays focus on constant cash flow without actually giving back to the community of gamers that make the game what it is. Diablo 4, Call of Duty, Overwatch, The Day Before, Suicide Squad, that's just to name a few. And even those games that aren't live service like Cyberpunk, Gollum, Redfall, Forspoken, Crime Boss, Skull Island, and even games that were successful but continued to milk the cash cow with absolutely no remorse, like The Last of Us 1 and 2, HD remastered twice. So now we have Arrowhead, a small studio of just over 100 employees who's made a name for themselves now by caring about not just the game they worked on for 7+ years, but also their community. The ones that gave them the money to keep their passion going. They even have a game master, almost like a dungeon master for D&D. He observes and adjusts the game's pace of the enemies and the mission requirements, not just to tell a story, but also increase player engagement or the difficulty while the rest of the studio works on the content. One guy simply named Joel. I love it. This mentality has been lost for a long time in the gaming industry now. It's become more about what's the next piece of content that can get us more money rather than what quality piece of content can we give the players while keeping our doors open for more job opportunities and future content to deliver. Very few studios now do this. Just for some shout outs, Larian Studios, who made Baldur's Gate 3, and From Software with Elden Ring, are they're games that people can enjoy with others while still giving great value and content and not gouging people of their hard earned money. We have Ubisoft right now gouging people before the game even comes out. Their pre orders run from $70 for just the base game, $109 for getting a 3-day early access, and $129 for some extra bundles. Keep in mind that it's all digital and the physical copy is rumored to still need internet connection to download and install. Oh, and if you can't afford the $129, they have a payment plan for you. What the hell, Ubisoft? This game, by the way, I failed to mention, I apologize, is Star Wars Outlaws by Ubisoft. I was just so upset with what they're actually trying to offer people, and I failed to mention the Star Wars game. Now, back to good gaming practices. Overall, I'm really surprised I'm still enjoying Helldivers 2. It continues to fascinate me, and it continues to make me feel good about giving my money to them. Even now, they just finished closing off an entire war with the automatons, and they came back the next day full force in a new sector nearby a planet that's inhabited by cyborgs, all part of the story, which they're enslaved by Super Earth, aka us. They also just now released a new war bond and new upgrades to unlock for our ships. I see Helldivers 2 has incredible potential for future DLCs and storytelling and has only been out for about 2 months and sold 1 million copies so far. Keep doing what you're doing, Arrowhead. I support your cause 100%. Please don't lose sight of what is most important in this industry whenever you guys start growing bigger and possibly work with larger studios and publishers. What's important is that players get their enjoyment of their game. Money is important, but don't treat your players as currency. Treat them as humans, gamers, and community like you have been so far. Thank you.